Well, they missed again.
They missed again. Yes, I saw. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I woke up. I had my alarm set. I was like, I'm gonna get up a bit earlier, do stuff with my day, and then on the radio came on. It was like, someone's tried to shoot Donald Trump again.
This is like the third time, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, people are getting a bit sick of it, and it's the US is when you think of like, I don't know, political violence in the modern day, the US is the first place that comes to mind.
Charlie Kirk, R.I.P.
And the other time they missed Donnie.
Yeah. But it's interesting how many people are convinced that this is like fake. And the amount of people, including on the right wing, who are starting to speculate as to whether the previous one, where they killed the guy, whether that one might have been a setup as well.
What, with Charlie Kirk? Oh no, the one
not with Charlie Kirk.
Where he his ear and then like hit the guy behind him and killed him.
Yeah, where he was like, fight, that one.
That is a magnificent photo, I have to say. That is Pulitzer Prize winning photography, that. Yeah,
but there's a lot of people now, it wasn't really spoken about that much, but now there are a lot of people who are like unironically, saying that those might have been faked.
I mean, people were up in arms. I mean, well, I say people, the fucking lunatics who are like flat earthers and moon landing deniers were up in arms during the Artemis mission saying that was fake. I mean, it's just...
Yeah.
It's just
those
sad.
people you're never going to persuade.
No,
but...
exactly. Because I mean, there's a chap on YouTube I watch who does a lot of like debunking videos. It's not, he doesn't use complicated science by any means. And there were a load of flat earthers who some guy paid like $40,000 each to go to the Arctic, the Antarctic, like the poles, and see the sun 24 hours a day, which disproves flat Earth completely. Yeah, and they all saw it. They live streamed it. They showed, and all their followers were like their plants, their CIA shills.
Yeah,
instantly they just their eyes are just closed, and they've closed them.
The thing about the flat Earth thing though is that it's so far fetched, it's so stupid that it doesn't pose any political threat.
No, it's just stupid. And it's just dull.
It's so detached from reality that like it's not like you can even tie it with a particular kind of political ideology. It's like there are like any kind of schizo person will inevitably end up thinking that the Earth is flat because it's just fucking insane.
Yeah, it has no tie. Like they're not going to change modern science with flat Earth because it's some furtive truth that can't be revealed.
And that it's such a stupid thing that is so inconsequential to even discuss that it's like it's never going to be like a tool in a political rebellion or in any kind of civil strife or anything.
It's why anti-vax is slightly more concerning because like that does actually have an effect,
Yeah. I mean, it will completely eradicate autism from the population.
That is true. But paracetamol. If you take paracetamol while you're pregnant, that also causes autism. So until we get, we've
got to get more pregnant women,
anti-Tylenol. But vaccines going is the first good step. Paracetamol's next. So all you fuckers with headaches better suck it up.
Yeah.
Sorry, slightly derailed the topic.
No, don't worry. That's happened this morning. Which is, there was something. What else is going on in the news?
Well, that kind of overshadows everything. I mean, the London Marathon was going on. Are we just talking US news?
No, just what's going on at the moment. What the people are talking about.
Yeah.
This isn't a news show. It's a public discourse show. We're contributing to the public discourse.
Yeah, we're real people, and this is what we have to say.
Yeah. Oh, have you heard about
Starmer and Ollie Robbins? That stuff's going on.
It's all kind of boring, though.
It is kind of boring. It's all just like select committees and stuff.
What I wanted to talk about was there have been all these scientists who have gone missing.
Oh, really?
Recently. Esteemed scientists who work at like aerospace technology labs.
Oh, this is classic. Did they speak out against Boeing? Because everyone who does that seems to tragically commit suicide by shooting themselves in the back of the head 3 times.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
It is weird, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's
Not that
been
we're conspiracy
suicides.
theorists.
There's been suicides and disappearances, and one top scientist even tweeted, like, if I am found dead, it was not a suicide. Which, you know, that would be a pretty funny thing to do if you, like, right before you commit suicide.
And then you kill yourself.
You know? Yeah. It just end on, like, one massive big lie. You know,
Yeah,
you've just like
really
created an absolute like shitstorm in public discourse. You know, that really would be a contribution to public discourse.
You could really,
but yeah, that's what's been going on.
You know, I have that kind of Japanese view of death where you're like, you know, go do something with it. You know, you're gonna die. Do something with it. So if I was going to kill myself, I'd totally do something stupid like that.
Yeah, I mean that's just like YOLO. You know, if we think back to our youth, that's probably why it resonates with you so much as a child of 2013. You know,
my coming of age was based around you only live once.
Yeah, which is largely what Japanese military doctrine is based on as well.
Doctrine is easier to study when it's a single abbreviation.
Yeah, but the Japanese never managed to do that.
No.
Which is curious.
So yeah, good stuff. Well, yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
No, but the White House commented on these disappearances. I'm trying to find what was said.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about this. I guess these mainstream media news sources won't be telling me.
They don't want to talk about it, but The Guardian doesn't mind.
The front page of the Times today is just the Trump attempted shooting, and then the London Marathon winner wins in under 2 hours.
Who cares about that? They did. It doesn't look any different when someone runs more quickly. It just happens more quickly. It's not.
Yeah, the event is over quicker.
It's not interesting. Like, you could have watched the first ever race that humans ever took part in all of history. And then seen that and been like, right, okay, I've seen literally every other race of the billions of races that humans will participate in for the rest of humanity's existence. You know,
I mean,
and
the
you
only
can
thing
visualize, and then someone's like, yeah, but the athletes will get way better in the future. Then you can be like, well, okay, I can imagine what that would be like, because it would look exactly the same, but they're just moving more quickly from one point to another.
And they're less out of breath or something.
Yeah, it's not any more interesting.
I mean, if the event's over quicker, then what's the point? You get less of a day out.
Less time to get drunk and scream at people publicly, which I think is the real reason people enjoy sports so much.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
it's the social occasion.
It's like football, you know. I whenever I see football, I have no idea what's happening, and I don't know like why it's happening. I don't understand why there's so many people who have spent so much money to be there. I just don't. It doesn't compute in my mind. Like,
see, I know what's going on, but I just don't care. I'm just not interested.
Yeah, but I don't even know what's going on, so it's like an extra level of difficulty for me, I guess. Like, I don't know what an equalizer is. You know?
Yeah.
What is an equalizer?
It's when one side's leading and then the other side equalizes, gets a goal.
See, that doesn't need a term for it.
This is like finance. Half-time equalizer. Bam.
It's the same as like finance, where they make up they make up too much jargon so that they can like obfuscate the vacuity of what they're ultimately talking. I mean, surely the popularity of football comes down to the fact that it's a good game to gamble on.
I think that's the same with most sports, isn't it? I mean, like, look at horse racing. That horse racing exists only for gambling, basically.
Yeah. But I'm sure that's why football's so... Like, maybe football, it's, like, good... It's like there's a good enough amount of risk to make it exciting to gamble on, but then at the same time that you can do enough strategizing by, like, comparing the players on each team, the stats...
how the teams have been doing, who's managing them. There's a lot of factors.
Exactly.
It adds a depth to it.
I think it's always been more about that, surely, than it has been about, community or like loyalty to your club or whatever. Like, surely
I don't know. I
that's
think a
always
lot of the
been
people who just
secondary.
watch it. I mean, most people I'd say don't gamble on the football, right? But I think it's just the
No.
tribal element that I'm on. I support this team. It's like a bit of banter, like, oh, I see you're doing not very well. It's
Well,
like
yeah,
every day
but
at
now
work,
it's like
oh, did you see the game at the weekend? No.
I think people like it because it gives the appearance of some kind of continuity between our time and the time of the past. When
The legacy of
football. Well, back when there was nothing to do, there was really nothing to do. So going to watch a football match and gambling on it, and I bet back then everyone was gambling on it,
yeah,
including the children. I bet everyone was gambling.
Well, you need something to spend your pocket money on.
Yeah, and that's the only reason it was popular then. But nowadays, the gambling element has faded. But people associate football with some kind of historic continuity and with their community and with that sense of community. So they go to the games and participate in all the rituals of it and everything. And that's their motivation for doing it. But what they're forgetting, what they're missing, what they're failing to understand is the brutal fact that the only reason people in the past were going to the football was just to gamble on it, because they were extremely poor and miserable,
had nothing to do.
Yeah, they had also had nothing to lose. It's like, if I spend all my money on gambling tonight, like, what difference is that going to make?
Well, it's probably the money they had left over. Like, you get paid every it's like a day's work. And then you buy the groceries in for the week, and then you get a couple of pints and put the rest of it on, the Arsenal.
Yeah, that's what it was. So it was like investing. So it actually was like finance, which is probably why they use
your money,
terms like
tomorrow
equalizer.
You get it back.
Yeah. I think if you read 18th century accounts of people who traveled to England from the continent, the thing they talk about is how absolutely obsessed with money and gambling the English are.
Yeah.
More than anyone. And you read about it and you think this seems like an exaggeration. It got to the point where people in London they wouldn't know who someone was. They wouldn't know their name, but they would know how much money they were worth.
They could just tell it.
They were just living in a spreadsheet. They would know the person. They would memorize someone's net worth before they memorize their name. Because that was more important. Every
social status and finance.
Yeah, in every sphere of society, everyone was just obsessed with money and gambling.
Yeah.
And that's probably why football was so popular here.
I mean, you look on a street in any English town or city, every high street has at least one gambling shop. Betfred or is it Ladbrokes?
Ladbrokes, yeah.
Ladbrokes. There's just gambling shops everywhere. I remember walking down the town the other day, a high street, and seeing these two kids on bike. They must have been 5, just screaming their heads off as their dad walked into the gambling shop and left them outside.
Oh, hell yeah. What a childhood.
What the hell, man? This is crazy.
What an incredible... What were they screaming at him for? They
weren't screaming at him. They were just stupid kids just screaming.
Oh, they were just badly behaved kids.
Yeah, they were just... Well, the dad had just gone into the Betfred or whatever and just left them outside.
Yeah.
And they were just hanging out. Have you ever been to a football game?
No.
I went to one when I was really young.
I don't know anything. Only one.
I went to one when I must have been sort of 11 or 12 maybe. I went to see Fulham at home. I mean, it's a very pretty stadium, but I was really not interested. And my Tamagotchi was having a kid at the same time, so I spent most of the game seeing what my Tamagotchi was doing. Well, I was a kid. I couldn't see very well because I don't think I had my glasses then. It was just before
Imagine
I got my glasses,
taking your son.
so I couldn't see very well.
Imagine taking your son to the football game, to the football match, and he's just not concentrating. And you're like, "Son, why aren't you concentrating?" He's like, "I'm sorry, Dad. My Tamagotchi is giving birth."
Yeah, I think at that point he knew maybe I wasn't destined to be a football player or particularly into sports, and maybe should be ushered down a more academic route.
But it's also the fact that when your dad was a kid, they didn't have anything like a Tamagotchi.
Yeah, that must have been weird. Like, what
for
the
a
hell?
toy. Yeah, it's like, how do I respond? Like, will the child be upset if I tell him his Tamagotchi doesn't matter? Like, is it literally a pet
This
made
toy
out of
pet is
electricity?
gay, is lame and
Yeah.
gay. How will he
Yeah.
react?
Yeah,
I used to do a podcast with my dad actually on the way to school when I was sort of in year 7, and I was listening back to them the other day, and it's really bizarre, obviously, because I'm like, what, 11, and I
voice
sound
hasn't
completely
broken.
different. Yeah, I sound
Yeah.
like really high pitched, and it's just really odd listening to it. And then we're talking about like hobbies, and my dad's like, "Oh yeah, you like doing the airsoft with me, reading, and then just fanning around on the computer." I was like, yes. How little you understood.
The extent of the computer addiction that would take a hold.
I don't think I've ever been addicted to like playing video games or anything. You know, it's never been that bad. Like I play a lot of video games. Go on.
Weren't you addicted to Dota?
The thing is, I don't think I was ever addicted because I still got all my work done. I never went to bed late. It didn't impact my life. Like I was never spending money on it or, going crazy. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Whereas some people, when they say they're addicted to video games, and they're like staying up until 5 a.m. playing games, and whereas I've never been. I usually still go. I just get tired. I'm like, I don't want to stay up playing games. I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed.
That's the problem with r/adulting is that there's not enough time for all this shit. I mean,
what's r/adulting? Millennials posting about how they like.
I don't know if it's an actual subreddit.
It definitely.
I don't know if it's an actual. It probably is, but I'm just saying because it's like a Reddit type word to use. Adulting.
I'm typing it in. Let's hope it isn't porn. Okay, so
probably would be.
r/adulting, doing something grown up and responsible, and this is what this sub is all about. Whether it's getting an apartment, paying bills in a timely manner, budgeting, getting a job, furthering your higher education, or anything else responsible, this is the place to talk about it. I mean, why does this need a Reddit?
Yeah, how is that even like an interesting topic? It's just people doing like things that are mundane unless you know that person. Like, who cares if someone graduated or got a diploma in something? Like, it's not. You're not going to be like, wow, I want to hear about that. And I think the people who comment on stuff like that and would be like, congratulations, like, well done. Could you imagine, like, I guarantee you they're fucking evil people in real life,
Yeah.
Like people who do performative kindness in comment sections,
This is just
like, I'm
really
here for you,
bizarre.
brother. Drop me a DM if you ever just need to talk to someone, So in case if you ever think about killing yourself or something. And it's like, do you think that guy would actually pick up if you like rang him?
No, probably not.
I bet he wouldn't.
Do you wanna? So the top post right now is someone just saying agree, right? And there's a quote. So
Yeah.
the quote is, "I'm slowly teaching myself that someone else's emergency is not my emergency. I've been running miles for people who couldn't even take a step for me," which I feel is quite fitting to what we're talking about. But this just seems to be all this subreddit is. It's just people quoting.
People aren't assigned emergencies. Like, if someone's having an emergency, that means that there is, as a point of fact, in reality, an emergency taking place. So, like, to say, like, your emergencies are your emergencies. It's like, what if I just got hit by a car?
I need you to help me. I've just been run over outside your house.
Yeah, and they're like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah. Sorry, I need to go and moderate r/adulting. I don't have time for this shit.
It's also, there's something funny about posting like a grown-up thing you've done, or like, doing a grown-up thing like getting a degree or something.
A job.
and then completely undermining how grown-up it is by posting about it on r/adulting.
For those sweet upvotes, and for random... All these quotes are like...
Karma.
Oh, I would never, someone else's emergency isn't my problem. Your failing to prepare isn't my issue. And then meanwhile, they are like desperate for random people's attention on Reddit.
Yeah, exactly. It's because they can't.
Do they not see the irony here?
It's like when a homeless guy is like, starts really talking about like why he's homeless, and they
Yeah.
start giving you their whole life story, and it's like and they start mentioning how like their family don't want them to come back after they've been out of prison, and they won't say what they went to prison for, and then it dawns on you, it's like, okay, I'm not being kind to this person, because like firstly there's a reason they went to prison. They probably did something bad, otherwise they would have mentioned what they went to prison for.
So bad their family doesn't want to see them anymore.
Yeah, like their children and their parents and siblings or whoever don't feel safe having them in their home. It's like, oh, okay, this is a bad person, and that's why they're coming up to me, because they can tell that I'm obviously a very good person.
Yeah, they can
based
smell
on my
it on
aura.
you.
Yeah,
Your glow.
and this is
Outside
the same thing.
Of
It's
Euston
people
train station.
these people turning to Reddit because like that's the only group of people who will accept them, because everyone else there is just as fucking dysfunctional as them,
It's so lame how Reddit has become like so popular.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's like just mainstream now. Everyone
Reddit's
is
always
a
been
Redditor.
lame, but now like it's just infecting people.
When this started to happen, I thought, oh, it might just dilute how fucking lame Reddit is, but it might make it a bit more like normal. But actually, it's having the inverse kind of effect, and it's actually just ruining the human quality of the majority population. It's just turning everyone into a Redditor, which is a disaster, especially in the UK, because we've always been a country that's been obsessed with politeness.
Yeah.
So when that kind of Reddit culture creeps in, it like really takes a firm hold. This is why like last year when Trump got elected in America, like they rolled back, all the progressive stuff, and everyone was like, this is the vibe shift. Even the Democrat Party were like, no, we're not going to do this stuff as much anymore. We're going to change our strategy. When that all happened, that didn't happen in the UK, because it was like, no, we've done that. We managed to regulate politeness through literal legislation. This is like the ultimate political achievement of British history, is we managed to codify being polite and not being rude, and we even have a government system where if you're impolite, you will get like put on some kind of database that the police are managing.
Yeah, which is basically social downvoting.
This is actually what the Victorians would have loved. This is what the right-wing reactionary crowd are missing. Is like, this is actually just the pinnacle of British history.
Of British conservatism.
Of just British civilization. As a culture, like it's finally crystallized to the point where there is legislation regulating politeness and commanding politeness in society. It's the ultimate achievement.
And if you get like a certain number of social downvotes, you should be, I don't know, sent to the US.
Yeah, where the rude people live.
Yeah,
not like us.
Disgusting Yanks live, who say, "Can I get a soda?" No, you can't get a soda. Fuck off.
So
very good. So fuck Reddit.
It's an interesting discussion. Yeah,
fuck
fuck Reddit.
Adulting. If you go on that sub, take a look at your own life. God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know a weird thing happened to me actually yesterday?
Pray tell.
I was at home on Saturday. Right. I got a knock at the door, and my girlfriend opens the door, and it's a woman standing at my front door. She's wearing white gloves.
Freaky.
Right? Kind of weird. White gloves. She looks like a cleaner who's just come off work or something, And she says, I'm looking to rent somewhere around here. Do you have a spare room or know anyone who does? And my girlfriend's like, no. And no, we don't know anyone. And then the woman's like, do you know any estate agencies around here or anything? And my girlfriend's like, no. And then the woman's like, I can give you my number if you hear of anything. And my girlfriend's like, no, thanks. And then the woman's like, what did she say next? She was like, well, how did you get this place? And my girlfriend was like,
she's calling her out.
We found it on Rightmove. And then the woman's like, right move. Oh, okay, I'll go on that. And then she leaves. I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Sorry, how old was this person? Had they heard of the internet?
But they weren't that old. They were probably like late 30s, maybe. She was.
Yeah, she was probably busy on r/adulting.
I don't know. She was like
She wants some karma,
late-
so she needs to find an apartment.
She was like late 30s, South Asian woman with an accent, wearing white gloves,
She might just
but
be a
otherwise
nutsack.
dressed quite normally. Maybe, I don't know. I was wondering, is this like, are you staking out? Are you like looking? Because she was like trying to get into the house. Apparently, she was like walking, trying to see her way in. So maybe she was like trying to inspect the building to scope out any entry points for a robbery.
Or if you've got any like stuff worth nicking.
Or maybe I'm just being horrendously
You might just be really
racist.
paranoid.
I might just be really racist by assuming that, and she's actually just genuinely.
That'll be the coppers after her.
Yeah. I live next to a dual carriageway, so I apologize to the audience for that. But what do you think was happening?
I think, okay, well, option A, she's just a nut job. Option B, yeah, she might have been actually trying to scope. See if people are in, see if they've got any stuff worth nicking.
And maybe that's why she was wearing the gloves, because then...
Yeah, then no fingerprints on doors or anything. Yeah. I think those are really the only two options. I mean, she might just be, really culturally different and doesn't know that you can just go on the internet and search, places to rent in X.
I'm sure they have that shit in South Asia. Surely. Surely they have, like...
Was she was sort of Indian subcontinent, or... When we say South Asia? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
it's like telecoms, loads of telecoms over there. They have the internet.
Yeah, they've got, like, a shit ton of internet. They dominate.
They have loads of internet. They've got loads of internet.
They're very present on the internet as well, so they're clearly using it,
Yeah, so I think she might have just been a wacko. One doesn't like to think that there's criminals scoping out, houses in the local area, trying to see if there's stuff
maybe it's connected to what happened to Trump. I don't know. Maybe me and Trump.
What, she thought you were hiding
the same. No, maybe she was like, part of the same organization that just attempted to assassinate Trump, assuming that it's an organization. Maybe the American government won't say that it's an organization. They'll say it was a lone...
Yeah, Trump literally said he's a lone wolf whack job, so...
I don't believe that. I think this is part of something bigger, and I think it's connected to that lady coming to my house asking if there was a room to rent. I think it's a very 19th century kind of thing to do, isn't it? Like, go up to someone's house.
Can I wash your pots, and have you got a servant's quarters I can sleep in or something?
Yeah. Back when people would put up signs saying, like, no Indians, no Irish.
No dogs.
No dogs, yeah.
No dogs or blacks.
Do you know what is funny is in Britain we've obviously got this like kind of reactionary like political movement of like quite right wing, like pro reform UK, or some of them more towards like what's the other one? Retard UK. What's it called?
Retard UK. Fuck, I can't stop thinking about that now. Reform and re. Yeah, he's aping on the same thing.
It's like
fuck. I mean, it's like
really
guy.
unimaginative. Yeah.
Is it Restore UK?
Restore
Britain. That's it.
Yeah, but like, how you get all those people who are like really into that stuff, and like Tommy Robinson, all that.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. The irony is that like, if you met an English person who was actually from the past, who was actually from like 500 years ago, and you gave him a choice, he could either be friends with like a Muslim from Pakistan, or what was then India, or he could make friends
West India
with an Irish Catholic.
Yeah.
He would 100% choose the Pakistani Muslim.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. He wouldn't care about like the skin color or anything. Like he would just be consumed by his hatred of Catholicism. Yeah, but there's a lot of overlap between like the English right wing movement and like the Irish one, because in Ireland they've got a lot of the same sentiments, a lot of opposition to immigration.
Hmm.
You know, house prices are really bad. I think they're actually worse there. So naturally, there's like a strong kind of anti-immigrant nationalist movement, and there's already been quite a lot of nationalism in Ireland anyway.
Just a
But
little bit.
yeah, but there's like weird, you know, you see it in comments like I'm English and I fucking hate the IRA, but you lads in Dublin keep it up with like beating up foreigners or whatever.
Speaking of which, a car exploded in Belfast. That was also in the news.
I didn't even see that. That's incredible.
I know.
I wonder why.
I thought about that. I was like, bloody hell, still happening, eh? And I was like, of course it's a car blowing up.
Yeah, that's like all they know.
It's
They
like the
haven't
classic.
changed their tactics.
No. At least I'm pretty sure that happened. I might have dreamt it while listening to the radio this morning. I'm sure that's what.
Yeah.
Something like that happened.
But I never like. In fact, a lot of these current right-wing figures in Britain are Catholic. Like Jacob Rees-Mogg is Catholic.
Yeah, well, it's the kind of conservative-esque.
They're not
feel
even
like it's
Whigs.
Yeah. I feel like it's just quite an old school kind of thing now. You know, it's a bit like
They're like Jacobites.
it's like anyone who represents Christianity. You know.
Yeah, but like the reality, the truth of Christianity is that it's all about fighting against and competing with other types of Christians who disagree with you on some point of theology. You know,
Yeah, but
that's
now
really
you
what
have to come
Christianity
together
is
to
about.
fight off the waves of immigrants.
Yeah, I know, but like even the Romans weren't doing that when that was going on in late antiquity. You know, they were just like siding up with different factions of the Germanic peoples and then using them in their wars against each other. You know, in their endless civil wars, all their wars with Persia that were clearly never going to end.
That's a sort of very British, like
waste of time.
7 Years' War tactic.
Yeah,
Buy off a bunch of people from the mainland to kill other people from the mainland who you like less.
yeah, exactly.
Perfidious
Yeah.
Albion at work.
But that is literally like most of the Germanic immigration that was like going on in that period. I'm pretty sure was just like mercenaries being brought into the empire so
Yeah.
that they could be used in
They
wars.
would probably, get rewarded for a good, you want to reward
Yeah,
your
and
good mercenaries.
And they wouldn't even look any different from Roman soldiers. Like they'd all be wearing the same shit. I think the Germanic peoples might have had like mustaches, but other than that, like
Probably
they
a
were
little
wearing all
paler.
the same shit.
Paler with odd facial hair.
Yeah, but like, it's not like it's got nothing to do with like modern day globalization and like the immigration that comes from that. There was immigration like that in the Roman Empire, but that was more like the immigration that went on within the empire. From say Palestine to
like economic migration to
Britain.
Rome or yeah.
That was like immigration brought about by globalization, and it didn't really cause any like massive tensions other than with Israel, I guess.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, that was quite a tricky one, but
It always has been, the Levant.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've come to an opinion about why Christianity, of all religions, became the main religion of the Roman Empire.
Right.
And it's actually interesting to learn about that, because one thing you have to realize is that Jews were a major minority within the Roman Empire, all over the empire already.
Yeah.
They were like, it might have been up to like 10% of the population of the empire. So they were like a really big ethnic group. But that part of the empire, from before it even got conquered, was just a nightmare to deal with. They had this religion that was like not very tolerant of other religions. They were very nationalistic in a time when nationalism didn't really even exist.
It's such an ancient part of the world. I mean, they've been
Oh yeah,
there's been
and
brawls there for millennia, even before the Romans came along.
And from before Jesus's birth, all the way through Jesus's life, and then for decades after his death, there was like never-ending conflict between the imperial authorities and the Jews living in Israel. which ultimately led, or Judea, I think it was called at the time, Judea. But ultimately it ended in like 70 AD when there was a big rebellion. So this is like 40 years after Jesus dies, right? There's and at this point Christianity exists, but it's a tiny
it's just
religion.
A few people basically.
Yeah, like spread out around the empire,
like Romans.
But it's just a weird sect. It's a weird subsect of Judaism. Like there are no Gentiles joining, really. Like not in any substantial numbers. But then,
well, I mean, they hadn't even written. Had they even written the Gospels by that point?
No, they were forming. I guess they were like crystallized. I think the earliest Gospel, which is Mark, came out around the event I'm talking about.
Right. Okay,
I think.
Yeah.
Although the Pauline epistles would have been.
That's what I meant. Yeah, like Romans.
But none of the Gospels. So, and then they have this big revolt, and then in 70 AD, and then the Romans defeat them, and they destroy the temple, and they basically chuck out a load of the Jews. And it's like a big disaster, but it's such a bloody war.
It's a disaster for the Romans, and how they handled it.
For everyone, because it's just so violent.
Yeah, just
but mostly for the Jews.
Violence suppression.
The Romans really repressed them, and they have like coins of like commemorating the event where like
Happy days.
Where it's like it just says like Judea conquered in Latin, and it's got like a picture of like, I don't know, like whatever trees grow in Judea and stuff. So it was one of the biggest like internal imperial problems that the Romans ever had, aside from their own civil wars. So what you have to realize is when Christianity becomes like the main religion in the Roman Empire, like a few centuries later, there's the Jews within the Roman Empire are kind of like they're like the main ethnic minority. They are associated with like the East, but they're also associated with like all the negative kind of stereotypes that are associated with Eastern civilizations by the Romans, as a kind of barbarian with a weird religion. But they have this entanglement with the Romans because but they have this weird cultural entanglement with the Romans in the same way that like Black Americans have this weird cultural entanglement with white Americans because of how bad it was in the past,
Civil War and things like that, and emancipation,
and that leads to this. Yeah, and that leads to this weird kind of new culture emerging, but somewhere between the two, where like, it becomes trendy to speak in, you hear like rich kids in America speaking in like a ghetto accent.
Yeah.
Just like that, you had Roman citizens, from like the middle classes imitating like an Eastern Jew by joining Christianity, which at the time was still seen as like, a Jewish sect primarily. So that's what it is. It's like a new urban culture that emerged during that time that was associated with the minority group that the Romans had probably persecuted the most horrifically out of everyone.
Because I think Judea was already quite an unrestful province.
Yeah.
For like 8 since
we've been conquered a bunch of times.
Yeah. Because
Herod
and I think his dad was also called King Herod before him.
Herod Antipas, maybe.
Yeah, were like pretty nasty because they were just constantly up in arms, and the Jewish leaders were always like afraid of people rising up and the Romans brutally repressing them. What were they called? The
the Pharisees?
Yeah, I thought there was another name for them, but Caiaphas, all that lot.
Yeah. Well, you had the Maccabean revolt, which I think had happened against the Greeks or the Macedonians, to be specific. I think I'm right with that. But then you also had these rebellions under Rome, and they were always a nightmare. They were just like they had a really strong cultural identity, a really strong ethnic identity.
Yeah, and it's pretty far away from like the homeland,
Yeah.
It's not so easy to administer when things are that far. It's like Britain or something,
Yeah. So what you're looking at with Christianity is it's basically that relationship between the Jewish civilization and the Roman civilization, the two getting kind of mixed up together. And that's why you see like Romans in the story and Jews in the story. It's like, you know, but it becomes part of the Roman identity because there's the original Roman identity from Jesus's time, which was limited to a few Latin aristocrats. And then there was this later Roman identity that emerged that was, you know, the identity of the entire empire, you know, who all had their Roman citizenship by that point. They were all Romans as a demonym. And so that's a second culture, and that culture doesn't come from a completely Roman source. It comes from, you know, the legacy of Roman conquest and stuff.
It's pretty amazing how the Romans managed to administer their empire, considering how the scale of it. Like, you think about these things now, and like we have so many technologies that allow administration.
I mean, it's a
so
different thing. A state back then is a completely different thing to what we would call a state now. You know, we like to visualize states as boundaries marked out on a map. You know, and what that suggests is that so long as you're within that boundary, you are to some extent or another under the control of that state. Right. Yeah. That's how you think about a state. But back then it was different. Like, a state was a network of towns and cities and villages, and when you were in between those places, you know, you were in like a wilderness essentially.
At the outlaw.
And this is true all the way up into the early modern period, when in Western Europe you started to see like actual nation states. But like the Roman Empire, it was basically it's kind of misleading when you look at a picture of it on a map and you just see it as this big red boundary that's been marked, you know, when actually it would be better to see it represented as a bunch of lines connecting cities.
Spheres of influences that are all connected by a system of administration.
Exactly, and it's all based on, you know, traveling from one of these settlements to another, and like, you know, and having a class of bureaucrats who are able to do that, which requires lots of taxation, which is ultimately why the empire probably declined.
So I was
in the West.
I was reading about this the other day. So the imperial system. So obviously a yard, there are 4,250 yards in a mile now, which is completely insane. Like, it's just a completely random number or something like that, or, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Because originally in Rome, a mile, as in mile, was 1,000 yards, which makes sense. And a yard was so many feet based on someone's feet, right?
But
then some weird conversion happened where a mile was then like based off an acre in Britain. And an acre is like
the acre.
An acre is like a distance that one man with a 2 oxen plow can plow in a day. You know, some like really bizarre system.
Idiot mathematics.
Yeah, and then they like worked backwards, and the two numbers didn't fit. They were like, okay, well, we'll just say it's 4,000 instead, and the numbers got completely fucked up. Yeah, totally. And there was like some system of like a census, like a land census that was based on, I think it was called like rods, and you know, you had this many rods to a piece of land, and it was just a big stick. They just had this big ass stick that was kind of different for each census worker. And so they were just like, stupid. You could get two people to measure with their rods and they'd come up with different numbers because they just had big sticks, and they were just like, yeah, that's about that many sticks.
Why was it even worth the effort to bother doing this? When was
taxation, man? I think so. I think it was finally sorted out, I think maybe by the Victorian period. It took ages to define these actual numbers. But you've got to know how much people earn to tax them efficiently. So get some guy with a stick.
And that is like probably the key to like Britain's success, is that it was a country that was able to develop a more cohesive tax system more quickly.
Yeah, I think taxation is always the key, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, the main change that happened between, say, the 4th century and the 10th century, so like, you know, the Dark Ages, basically, the main change isn't the collapse of the Roman Empire per se, it's the abandonment of taxation in the West, you know. And the moment the West became too burdensome given how much tax could be brought out of it. That was the moment when the Eastern emperors were like, okay, fuck it, there's no point in actually administering these territories, you know.
Yeah.
But that was the main thing. So that's why, like, when you look at the Dark Ages, they're called the Dark Ages. That's why there's like literacy was so low, because like if you're not collecting taxes and everything is based on like oaths and you know and shit like that.
And also, if you don't know where boundaries are, then people start fighting, and then you know militarism takes over. Really, you can't be bothered with. You know, you basically just have like juntas that just go around and take money off people.
Yeah,
it's not about how much you owe; it's just however much you have when they come round.
Do you know? I was reading about this country called the Roran Khaganate. Have you ever heard of them?
The Roran Khaganate? No, I've not.
Khaganate, yeah. They were like proto-Mongols, but they built like this fucking huge empire in probably around late antiquity, I think. And it's like, but they were all nomadic, and the way their political system was like completely parasitic, and it was based entirely on extracting like tax revenue from neighboring societies that were settled rather than nomadic. But they themselves didn't have any
of raiders.
But so it was just about creating as many client kingdoms as possible. But you didn't want to take over
what
those
the Mongols
kingdoms.
Did.
Yeah, but the Mongols built like an empire.
Yeah, I mean they ended up
like,
taking over China
states.
and stuff, and actually.
Well, and it just splintered,
China.
and then they turned, and then the inheritor states just kind of morphed into like conventional tax-based, you know, like the Mughal Empire or whatever, or Tamerlane. But like the Rurans, their entire system was just based off of like you want to create as many client states as possible, but you wouldn't want to actually annex their territories because then that would mean you'd have to run the tax administration. So you just rock up every now and then.
Basically, just vassal states that you raid.
Yeah, that are more developed and more civilized than you are, but that you just kind of make
horses.
them your bitch.
You have horses. So your bit is.
It's like being a bully at school who just like goes around and takes shit off of other people who are like smarter than him, more promising than him, gonna go further than him. But you know he doesn't give a shit because he's just getting their sweets off of them. You know, and they're getting sweets because they're well behaved and their parents love them. And he's not getting any sweets, but he doesn't give a shit. Even though he's dumber than them, he still feels like more powerful than them.
Yeah, because he has horse archers and they don't have castles yet until he keeps going west and meets the Poles, and then he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, that must have been fucking weird being a Mongol getting. It
must have been terrifying for Western Europe. You just hear of this horde of men on horseback who can fire arrows accurately. You just can't beat them in a pitched battle.
It's weird. Same thing goes for like what was his name? Attila.
Attila the Hun. Yeah.
When you read like Roman descriptions of him, and it's like they're trying to describe like an Asian guy. But like they've never seen one before.
Because he was more like Turkic, right? Like from the Turkic steppes.
Yeah, he probably looked like a Mongol.
Yeah, like Tuvan.
Yeah.
Sort of,
but like, I mean, the Hun themselves were pretty ethnically diverse. I think they didn't have
they were
one
a horde
look,
as well, weren't they?
Yeah, they like just pick people up as they migrated.
Attila's a great name, isn't it? That's a powerful name.
Yeah, but the original Hun, I think, would have been like Turkic speaking. That's so funny about Turks, isn't it? They're like the modern, like today, the stronghold of the Turkic languages is Turkey, and the people there don't look anything like the original Turkic speakers, who would have looked like Mongolian people or something.
The Cumans were very cool as well. They had very cool masks.
Where are they from?
I think they were from around the same place, but they're sort of those kind of Turkic steppes, but they didn't show up until much later. I think they were hanging around Bohemia in like the 15th, 16th centuries, but they had some very cool
just fucking everything
helmets.
Up. These guys always have cool helmets. I don't know why.
Yeah, there you go. I'll send a photo in the chat for you.
Yeah.
You'll have to do your classic description of this look.
Oh, it looks kind of like Guido Fawkes' mask.
Yeah, it's like the anonymous mask.
Yeah,
it's a bit scarier, and it's in steel.
That is pretty scary. You wouldn't want a guy who looks like that charging at you. He's got a very pointy. He's got his helmet is shaped in the same way that like the medieval European depictions of the Mongols look.
Yeah.
It's like very pointy.
It's extremely pointy. It looks fucking deadly.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite an intimidating mask.
Are these guys like Tatars? I don't know who the fuck the Tatars were, but they're all the same kind of.
So Cumania, whoa, holy shit, it was huge. It ranged from sort of the Danube in Hungary all the way to... Jesus, where even is that? Sort of South Russia towards... I guess that might be one of the Istans. Kyrgyzstan.
The problem with this is, though, when you look at old history maps of like the world in the year 800 or whatever, you'll see these massive empires, and you'll be like, "Damn, I've never heard of that. That's so much land." And then you look into like what was actually going on inside that empire, and it's like just absolutely nothing.
There's like 3 cities.
It's like the Mongol Empire was huge, but like most of what they conquered, aside from like the territories they got in China, I guess, was kind of just nothing. There was just fuck all happening there. You know, it's pretty easy to conquer land where like basically no one lives there. You know?
Yeah.
And that's why Mongolia is so much smaller today than the old Mongol Empire was. You know?
Yeah, so they were Turkic between the 10th and 13th centuries in the western part of the Eurasian steppe. So just north of Turkey. It's quite big because I think they were a conglomeration of lots of different...
Yeah, they were always like federal, tribal networks.
The same area as the Golden Horde, one of the...
Yes, yeah. Do you know who I liked is what were they called? The Sarmatians. I'll find the picture. These guys had cool clothes. The
Wikipedia page for the Golden Horde. It was originally a Mongol and later a Turkicized Khanate. What a great phrase.
Turkicized Khanate.
Yeah, Turkification is what the page it links to.
Turkification,
Turkization, or Turkicization describes a shift whereby populations receive or adopt Turkic attributes such as culture, language, history, or ethnicity.
How funny would it be if that was like the end game of history?
It's like crabs, you know how everything turns into crabs. Carcinization.
We all just turn into
Turks. Yeah. Oh god.
Just eat kebabs and stuff.
Yeah. Ride around on scooters and yeah.
You've never been to Turkey, have you?
I've never been to Turkey, no.
A lot people say it's nice.
To Turkey?
No, I haven't.
My girlfriend.
I imagine it's similar to Greece.
She found it quite nice.
Yeah, I feel like it's a nice place. I like Turkish food. Look at this guy.
Yeah, so do I.
It looks pretty
the
sick.
The Turks in real life are very nice, but a lot of them I've met are in Counter-Strike, and they're all horrible.
Oh yeah, no, that's not going to be an accurate.
It's like the Chinese in War Thunder, you know.
Yeah.
Or Russians anywhere. Whoa, this guy's looking sick. He's It's like it looks like it's from a museum. Am I meant to? I'm just looking at the armor.
Yeah.
It's like gold plate armor with a fur underline, with like brass rivets almost pushed into like every spot of it. That isn't the gold plating. That is extravagant armor. Holy shit!
They were basically like
But then he's just wearing like Ugg boots.
Yeah, they were basically Scythians. I think they were like they came from the Scythians, or like they're a subgroup of Scythians.
Post-Scythian.
Those all those like Iranian people are cool. You know,
I really like
the idea that. Yeah, you need
anyone with a staff is definitely up there in terms of cool.
Yeah. Well, these guys all look like wizards. I'm pretty sure the wizard hat comes from the Scythians. You know, the stereotypical pointy wizard hat.
Well, look at the Cuban
they love
helmet.
like magic.
That's got that kind of. It's got a touch of like battle mage to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I especially like the reenactor with the sort of like the cloth wrapped around his helmet. That looks very Persian.
Yeah, these guys look fucking weird.
That armor is
it was
amazing.
a good time for helmets. I mean, it was a very good time for helmets.
People made that kind of stuff. Just it is
artisans.
Amazing, isn't it? Yeah, must have taken ages. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, there you go, guys. How do you feel about pointy helmets?
Leave
What's
a comment.
Your favorite pointy helmet?
We did get a comment. If we're moving towards the sort of epilogue.
Oh,
of the
we
show.
did, didn't we?
We got a comment from a guy who said that first. So that's good.
Congratulations on
thanks.
coming first.
Well done.
Yep.
You were the first one to make a comment.
The first of many, I'm sure.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Well, we should do. I'll just do a quick check. Yeah. Well done, Avos at Avostow. You are first.
You are first.
Maybe you can be first again.
The heir to the podcast. When I die, you become co-host.
Yeah,
that's
I
your
take
gift.
over as primogenitor succession. Means I
We
become
need to
the host.
We need to declare someone an anti-host. I think.
Yeah,
That seems like
Joe Rogan.
That'd be a good. Well, shall we discuss what we're going to call this episode? I feel
that's
like,
a good. Yes, I think we need to do that definitely.
I have to apologize to the audience, by the way, for being so nasally and slow today. I have.
This has been a
I'm
chill
dual
episode.
wielding. I'm dual wielding hay fever and a cold. So
This is the chill episode you listen to after
this is a chill
work.
episode.
You know, this isn't the one to get you up in the morning.
it's also fucking hot in here. I have to say,
Yes,
it's so
it is
ridiculously hot in
getting
the room
warm.
I'm in. I'm in an actual. I always
You're
forget
basically in a
what the word
greenhouse.
is. I am basically in a greenhouse. Yeah, it's incredibly hot. But yeah, I've got some. Here are some potential titles for the episode.
Okay, are these YouTube auto-generated ones?
Yeah.
Okay, I can imagine
Alright.
what these will be like, but let's hear them.
Neo-feudal aesthetics, Hyperborean architecture, and the end of urban digital serfdom.
They're all the same every week, I feel like.
I know. This one's good though.
We have good stuff about Mongols, what was it? Turkification, Turkicization.
Yeah, that could be a good term to put in there, actually.
The Turkicization
spiritual.
of Mongol
How about
hordes.
this?
Yeah.
Spiritual warfare against algorithmic occultism and the ghost in the machine. Well, that's just putting the name of a film in your title.
yeah, that just
Or
sounds like we're talking about anime.
Oh, am I thinking about is it Ghost in the Shell?
That's Ghost in the Shell.
They really make no effort when they ever use English. You know, whenever they have to title something or, right. I mean, I remember as a kid back in the day when you would get instruction manuals with your video games. And because I always had like Game Boys and DSs, that kind of stuff. And you'd read the stuff that Nintendo had written and it's like, how are you so bad at this? Like, surely there's one guy at the office. Like, you have offices in America. Why don't you just get the people there to write the manuals? Like, can they not spell? I'm like, surely you've just done this in Tokyo without putting any real effort in, So yeah, that's another one of my complaints against the nation of Japan.
I mean, if you look at modern anime now, all the titles are so ridiculous. Like, if I go on my anime list, which I'm probably going to be put on a list for going on, the top season
my
anime.
Lolita Con list.
So that time I got reincarnated as a slime, season 4. That's currently trending. The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, season 2. I made friends with the second prettiest girl in my class. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Do you think Japanese people play any of the Japanese games that Westerners play? Because I have a feeling Japanese people, the only games they actually play are like visual novels, which are extremely pornographic and would be completely illegal to sell outside of Japan. Literally anywhere outside of Japan. I often see a lot of
Japanese people playing. I feel like a lot of the Western games that we play. I don't know if that's just my...
Like, do any Japanese people play like Metal Gear, do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Really?
I think Kojima is one of the few people who who people actually play his games in Japan for sure. But people they love Konami. They just do like pachinko. Yeah, he's an auteur. He appeals to the autist in every Japanese.
Yeah,
person.
I don't think I've ever played one of his games apart from the original Metal Gear on the MSX computer system. I have played that.
Here is a great title. The strongest job is apparently not a hero or a sage, but an appraiser. I mean,
that's too long.
An observation log of my fiancée who calls herself a villainess. I mean, Jesus.
They're
What
getting
the
very technical.
Fuck is this? Reborn as a vending machine, I now wander a dungeon. Season 3. Holy shit! What the hell?
That I kind of like, actually. Yeah.
The
I mean,
most
the problem with
heretical
anime,
last boss queen from villainess to savior. Season 2.
the problem with anime is it's got very westernized and then just kind of died. You know, I feel like 10 years ago, anime was a lot more trendy than it is now.
Yeah,
because it was like a weird foreign thing to be into, and now it's like
just awful.
Netflix. This is all playing up tropes for a Western audience, I would imagine.
I feel like a lot of it is.
The really big animes that are probably the actually good ones. I wouldn't know because I don't watch anime anymore. But they're all on like Netflix, so they're all made by like Western producers and production companies and stuff. So it's like, and you can tell because they don't really feel very Japanese anymore. You know, I mean, all the great animes are built entirely off of World War II trauma. In fact, pretty much anything,
and any Ghibli
good,
film is.
Yeah, literally anything good that comes out of Japan is just about them struggling to cope with how badly they got fucked in that
defeated in the Second World War.
Coming to terms with how much they got cucked in a single conflict. But you know, now you don't see that on these newer animes. They're all about like I don't know, like epic fights and stuff. Like who gives a fuck about that? I want to see like a city getting blown up by a highly advanced civilization.
I just love how technical these titles are getting. They're all so long. There was a cute girl in the hero's party, so I tried confessing to her. Like, how's that even a title?
What is a hero's party? Is that like a...
It's one of those like D&D style things that are really popular now.
They love that shit in anime now, and it doesn't make sense because it's like it's an anime, not a video game. You know, so why put that in there?
Easygoing territory defense by the optimistic lord. Production magic turns a nameless village into the strongest fortified city. That's the whole name of the anime.
That actually sounds like something you would hear like a schizophrenic guy saying on the street.
Guys, check out my new manga that I've written. It's some guy in New York.
No, you would hear them just say that string of words. And then,
just completely out of nowhere. Hell mode, the hardcore gamer dominates in another world with garbage balancing. That's like one of Athelfeather's aphorisms.
Yeah. The thing I love about like insane people is the way they'll say like actual nonsense and then like give like completely a knowing nod. Yeah, like it just like not only did it make sense, but it was like really wise. You know, it was like when they speak with that kind of confident air, like they're telling you something that they think is like useful for you to know. You know, where they think it's like oh he need. You know, I'm giving him advice, and then it's just like absolute, like gibberish.
Sage advice.
It's just complete nonsense. Yeah, it's like actually insane. And to think that we used to like basically have those people run our whole society. You know? it's like in the Bronze Age. You know,
it does like, put things in perspective.
In like the Neolithic era, if you spoke like that, people would be like, "Shit, he's onto something."
This guy's wise as fuck.
We need to settle down and farm, and so that we can create a taxable surplus, which will entirely go to him.
So we can hear more of his wise words.
And then fast forward like 5,000 years, you're in Egypt, going to the annual event where the pharaoh comes out and literally jacks off and comes into the River Nile, so that you will get food, and it's like, and you've been doing this.
And then you starve
for millennia. You've been and then you die in a famine. And the people in this country keep doing this for thousands more years. Like it just like longer than the time between the Roman Empire and now. There's just this long stretch of time where everyone in Egypt every year goes to watch the pharaoh. Some guy whose parents are literally siblings, who is like, clearly physically fucked, and you just watch this guy come out with a walking stick, even though he's like 15 years old, and then just come into a river, and then you're all like,
and then
thank God,
go again.
Thank God he did it again.
And then you don't get a good harvest, and you think he didn't come hard enough.
Yeah,
anyway.
this is guy. We need a different schizo guy to be in charge.
Yeah, this guy's not good enough.
Someone-
His semen is not strong enough.
I mean, someone's got to come into the Nile once a year, right?
And by God, it will be me. And then you
Otherwise,
start a revolt.
how will the Nile? Otherwise, how will the Nile get pregnant? You know,
Yeah.
Think about this.
Osiris can't come back if we don't jizz into the Nile.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's the Bronze Age.
Yeah.
What are we going to call this episode then? We've got
Something about fuck's sake, Turkicisation.
Turkicisation.
Turkicising all the empires.
Turkicisation.
Turkicising r/adulting.
And Pharaonic.
Ejaculate.
I can't say ejaculate. I can't say. I got a Pharaonic essence.
Sure. Emissions.
I thought maybe that's just not.
What?
What can I
It's
say?
not right. There you go. Write that. Put that as the title.
Pharaonic.
Transcribe your sneeze as the title.
Man, I'm so ill. I can't think of what's another word for cum. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just cum synonyms.
This is really good content here to finish the podcast with.
Semen, sperm, spermatoza, seminal
You need the
fluid,
verb,
emission.
don't you?
You are right, actually. Spooge, splooge,
You can't put
Seed.
spooge on it.
load, jism, spelled SM
Yeah,
instead of.
jism.
That's not too bad, is it?
Pharaoh jism.
Yeah.
No one's going to click on this episode if it's called something about Pharaoh's jism. Maybe they will.
I don't know. Some people might. There are people who would be more likely to click on the video if that was in the title.
I guess as good British folk, that's the bet we have to take.
Spooge? I like that.
Spooge.
It reminds me of Spongle. You ever
Yeah.
listen to Spongle?
yeah, I have.
yeah, man.
Yeah, I've listened to loads of Spongle. Anyway, let's end this, please.
Yeah, all right,
Please,
all right.
God.
Emission. I think I'll do emission.
Emissions
Okay,
is classy.
Thank you guys for joining us for another episode.
Yes.
I wish you all good health. Eat your vitamin fruit. Wait,
Take
no,
your zinc
that's not what I meant.
supplements
Citrus.
to enhance your
Citrus fruit.
emissions.
Yes. And have a great week. Please give us a like or subscribe. Maybe you could be the second person to comment.
Yeah.
You know,
if this guy doesn't beat you to it, if not, hit him with the first. Beat him to it.
If he beats you to it, then your mother will die in her sleep tonight. How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Think about that.
So get
From
on
the
it,
moment
people.
you see his comment, from the moment he sees the video pop up, a timer starts, and you have to beat him to it. You know, and once you've heard me say this, the curse is laid upon you. So you have to get to that video, type in a comment as quickly as possible. And if he's already there, I'm sorry, R.I.P.
Yeah, you should have been quicker. It's not my problem. Your emergency is not mine.
That is not my job.
R
All right,
slash
well,
adulting.
amen.
Amen.